You're right on time for me.
But I was a day late.
Not to me.
The train station at Silver Ridge hadn't seen a passenger in 2 days, and the wind had begun to own the place. Dust moved in slow spirals across the cracked boards, rattling loose nails and whispering through broken lanterns. Sheriff Tom Callahan stood there with his hat pulled low, staring at the empty tracks like they had betrayed him personally. He wasn't waiting for a criminal. He wasn't waiting for supplies. He was waiting for a bride. Tom Callahan was known across 3 counties as the toughest cowboy alive. He'd fought rustlers, buried friends, survived winters that froze cattle solid in the fields. But loneliness had been the one enemy he couldn't outdraw. So, months earlier, after a sleepless night and too much whiskey, he'd answered an advertisement from a woman in St. Louis. Her letters were neat, thoughtful, full of warmth and courage. Her name was Clara Whitmore, and she wrote about books, kindness, and hope. She wrote like someone who believed life could still be beautiful. They agreed to meet on May 14th. Today was May 15th. The train had come and gone yesterday. No Clara. Tom folded her last letter carefully and put it back in his pocket. He told himself she'd changed her mind. Why wouldn't she? She was young, educated, and hopeful. Silver Ridge was dust and ghosts. He turned away from the platform, shoulders heavy. Behind him, a voice said softly, "Excuse me, sir, is this Silver Ridge?" Tom froze. He turned slowly. A woman stood there with a single worn suitcase, hair tangled from travel, dress wrinkled, eyes tired but brave. I missed the train yesterday," she said. "I'm looking for Tom Callahan." Tom stared at her like a man seeing rain after a 10-year drought. He cleared his throat. "You're a day late, Miss Whitmore." She smiled nervously. "I know." Tom's voice softened in a way nobody in Silver Ridge had ever heard before. "You're right on time for me." Silver Ridge didn't welcome strangers kindly, especially not delicate ones. Clara could feel eyes on her from the moment Tom walked her down Main Street. Women whispered. Men frowned. Children stared like she was a circus act. Tom noticed. He always noticed. "Don't mind them," he said. "They just don't like surprises." Clara nodded, though she was terrified. She had never seen a place so rough. Buildings leaned like tired old men. Horses looked hungrier than their riders. The sky was wide and lonely. And Tom Callahan walked beside her like a quiet mountain. He showed her the house he'd built himself. It was small but clean. He'd painted the door blue because she once wrote she loved the color of the ocean. Clara touched the doorframe gently. "You did this for me." Tom shrugged. "Figured you deserved something nice." She felt tears burn her eyes. Inside, everything was simple. A stove, a table, 2 chairs, 1 bed. Clara swallowed. "We don't have to rush into anything." Tom shook his head quickly. "No rush. Not ever. You stay as long as you want, or leave if you want. I won't stop you." That was the moment Clara knew she hadn't made a mistake. But the town had other plans. That night, someone smashed a rock through their window with a note tied around it. "Gio Barsici est." Tom crumpled the note silently. Clara whispered, "Maybe I should." Tom looked at her with quiet fire. "I waited 37 years to meet you. Ain't no one sending you away now." Outside, boots shuffled in the dark. Silver Ridge was about to test them both. The trouble started the next morning. Clara opened her suitcase to unpack, and a small photograph fell onto the floor. Tom picked it up without thinking. It was a picture of Clara with another man. Tom's jaw tightened. "Who's he?" Clara went pale. "My brother," she said quickly. "He's gone now." But Tom saw something deeper, fear, regret, something unspoken. Later that day, 3 riders came into town asking for Clara Whitmore. They weren't friendly. Tom stepped into the street, hand resting near his revolver. "She ain't here," he said calmly. The tallest rider smiled coldly. "We know she is. She stole something valuable." Tom's eyes narrowed. "You're lying." The rider leaned forward. "Ask her about St. Louis." That night, Clara finally told the truth. Her brother had died gambling, leaving debts with dangerous men. Clara had taken his ledger to expose them. Those men wanted it back. Tom listened without interrupting. When she finished, she whispered, "I didn't mean to bring danger here." Tom walked to the door, locked it, and loaded his rifle. "You didn't bring danger," he said quietly. "You brought purpose." Outside, horses circled like wolves. Inside, Clara realized something terrifying. She had fallen in love with the man who might die protecting her. The attack came at midnight. Shots shattered the quiet. Windows exploded inward. Clara screamed as Tom pulled her behind the stove. He moved like lightning, calm, precise, fearless. Every shot he fired was measured, every move deliberate. The riders hadn't expected resistance. They certainly hadn't expected Tom Callahan. But there were too many. The barn caught fire. Horses screamed. Smoke choked the sky. Clara grabbed Tom's arm. "Run!" Tom shook his head. "I don't run from cowards." Then something changed. One rider dragged a child from a nearby house as a shield. Tom's face hardened. He stepped forward unarmed. "Let the boy go. Take me instead." Clara realized then what kind of man he was. Not just strong, good. The rider laughed and lowered his gun. Sheriff's deputies from the next town rode in, guns blazing. The outlaws scattered into the night. Silver Ridge was saved, but Tom collapsed from a hidden wound. Clara held him in the dust, crying, whispering, begging him to stay. For the first time in his life, Tom Callahan was afraid, not of death, of leaving her alone. Tom survived. Barely. For 2 weeks, Clara never left his side. She cooked, cleaned, stitched wounds, and read him stories when fever took him. The town watched. Something changed in Silver Ridge. Mrs. Henderson brought soup. The blacksmith fixed their door. Even the saloon owner offered free meals. They saw what Clara saw. Tom wasn't just a cowboy. He was their shield, and Clara wasn't an outsider. She was the heart he'd been missing. One evening, as the sun painted the hills gold, Tom sat up weakly. "Clara, you don't owe me anything. You can still leave." She laughed softly through tears. "I crossed half a country for you. I survived gunmen. I stitched you back together. And you still think I'll leave?" Tom smiled slowly. She took his hand. "I may have arrived a day late, but I found my home right on time." Tom whispered, "Marry me for real this time." She nodded. Outside. Silver Ridge's church bell rang for the first wedding in 10 years. Their wedding was simple. Wildflowers, dusty boots, honest smiles. Tom wore his cleanest shirt. Clara wore the same travel dress, repaired with love. When the preacher asked if anyone objected, the wind blew quietly through open windows. No one spoke, because Silver Ridge finally understood something. Love doesn't arrive when planned. It arrives when needed. Years later, children would hear the story of the mail-order bride who came a day too late. They'd ask Tom if he was angry. He'd laugh, pull Clara close, and say, "She wasn't late. She came exactly when my life started." And Clara would smile, knowing the truth. Sometimes destiny misses the train. So it can arrive on horseback, under a wide western sky, right on time for the person who needs it most.